September 15th, 2019, the start of India's home season, South Africa found themselves in Dharamshala. Now in March, at the end of India's home season, South Africa are back and they're again in Dharamshala, hoping to carry their form against Australia into the one-dayers in India. Now, if we'd done this blog towards the end of January, early February, we'd have said India flying high, very good results in recent times, hadn't played a lot of one-day internationals but had won almost every series that they had played, versus South Africa, who could not win a thing, whether it was T20, whether it was test matches, whether it was ODIs. After that terrible run at the 2019 World Cup in England, I kept saying South Africa is a stock to sell. Now look what's happened thereafter. India played 3 ODIs in New Zealand, suggested that it might not have been the most contextual tournament, but they lost 3-0. Then what happens? Australia, maybe they're tired, but Australia go across to South Africa. So much talk about all that happened last time and South Africa win 3-0. So all of a sudden, this series is not about the India that was and the South Africa that was, but about the India that is now and the South Africa that is now. And I think that lends a little more edge to the series. What's there to look forward to in this series? The return of Pandya is a big factor. It's a little hard on Kedar Jadhav, I know, but Kedar Jadhav became a product of an excellent batting side and did very well when he had to play that finishing role, did that really well when he had the opportunity to play long innings. He didn't, but he's 35 now. He'll have to do really well to come back. I have a soft corner for Kedar Jadhav, so I'd be happy if he did put together strong performances. No Shivam Dube, that was always on the cards with the return of Hardik Pandya. I'm looking forward to the return of Bhuvneshwar Kumar. I've got a lot of time for him as a player. He's been very unfortunate in recent times. So many injuries, so many different kinds of injuries. Word that it might not have been handled well, we don't know. But the return of Bhuvneshwar allows Bumrah, his colleague, to bowl at the death again. His death numbers have suffered a little bit. Maybe that was because of injury. So that's the first thing I'm going to be looking at with this side. How does Bhuvneshwar Kumar slot back? He might have to bat at number 8 too, but that's the first thing to look forward to. The form of Bumrah as well. I mean, you look at Bumrah, I know he's been fantastic in the red ball game, but you think white ball Bumrah, right? He's come back home. And that didn't happen in New Zealand. So we'll wait and see if with a couple of test matches behind him, whether he's got his rhythm back. And then there's Virat Kohli. I've often said, if you're Kohli, if you're Tendulkar, if you're Dravid, you're condemned to be compared to yourself. Now 22 innings without 100, it's happened a couple of times before, but with the modern hype around players, you always expect something from Virat Kohli. So I'm waiting to see if Kohli just casts everything aside and says, right, I am Kohli, I'm batting number 3 home conditions, I'm going to get at least 100 in these 2 games. But I will not lose sleep if he doesn't, but I want to see Kohli playing dominating innings back at the top of the order. So that's it for India. I'd be interested to see if they play 2 wrist spinners, but Jadeja keeps his place by right because he's been excellent since he's come back as a bridge between the batsmen and the bowlers and being almost a go-to bowler when they were conceding runs. Now, what about South Africa? Something very interesting is happening in that South African side. Graeme Smith went back as director of cricket. Mark Boucher's come back as coach. And straight away, there's a crop of batsmen coming up, the kind that you thought were being lost to South African cricket. Now, normally you don't look at white and brown and black in the context of sport, but in South Africa, there are quotas. And it's very interesting to see what has happened. There's a whole lot of coloured bowlers that are coming through. Not just Rabada, but Ngidi is back to fitness. Veklokwayo is doing what he normally does. The arrival of 4 or 5 coloured players is allowing South Africa to play 6 batsmen who they otherwise wouldn't have been able to. And all of them have won matches for them or played key roles for them. Quinton de Kock has been on fire, top of the order over the last, 7, 8, 10 months. In recent times, John Smuts, he's been around for a while. He's come and played a good innings. Kyle Verreynne has been around. Rassie van der Dusen is fulfilling his role. Janneman Malan, who's in this side as a backup for Temba Bavuma, he's played a match-winning innings. So there's a lot of those. Faf du Plessis comes back. So that top order is suddenly looking very good and someone we've always rated because he did well against India. Heinrich Klaasen is going into that middle order and doing really well. So the South African batting is now looking a lot more complete because of the arrival of these bowlers. So this South African team has better balance than it had in recent times, and they'll come to India on a big high. Beating Australia for South Africa is big. So what can we look forward to? Well, for a start, hopefully the rain stays away in Dharamshala. I still think in home conditions, India have the edge, but I'm looking forward to see South Africa play far better than they did when they were last in India. That was, if you're a lover of cricket, that was not a very nice side. So I'm looking forward to a good, tough series between India and South Africa.